All right, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, that's what we're talking about here on the day. And again, we had our FOMC meeting. We had our rate cuts announced for the first time in almost a year. Literally is about a year anniversary since our last cut. And again, the market so far looks to be liking. We had some volatility, as you can see here on the Nasdaq. You literally went up and down like 400 points, but we're kind of settling here. Now, also, what's going to be important to watch is kind of what's going to be happening going forward with the dollar. We'll talk more about this because the dollar dropped, but now popping back up. What's happening with yields, rates, and the expected move going forward as well. So we're going to be diving deep into that, as well as stocks that we like in the biggest opportunities. Because again, I gave you some opportunities yesterday, but I think today is presenting itself with a lot more, and in my opinion, a lot better opportunities as well. But before we get into all that content, I want to say if you are interested in how we trade, what we trade every day, the Discord link is down below. You get our rundown every single morning, what we're looking at, what we're watching. You get Jay's trades as well, his more swings, and then we go into our watch list every single day. Obviously, our trade ideas more the swings, direct entries, etc. When you go into scalps, we don't give direct entries and exits. We just show you the setups that we're looking for all throughout the day, and we kind of walk you through those of what we're looking for, when we're getting in, etc. And then obviously you get the chat room, profits, etc. So everyone, that's where they're at right there. So again, the link for that is down below. I also want to say right now, again, I don't do a lot of crazy sponsors here on the channel, but I want to say right now, if you're trading futures, what Tradeify is, they just announced their new sale and their new accounts. Okay, so they just launched Project X. I'm gonna have a lot of education over the next few days going on Project X on my second channel. But again, they just released Project X to their platform. You can go straight to funded, which is a little bit more expensive, or you can do the eval accounts, the growth ones. I would recommend the 50K accounts. They're only $100, way cheaper than Top Step. Again, using Project X, this is crazy. Payouts are literally within minutes. Again, this might be the new prop firm that's at the tippity top. My funded futures will always be top 3 for me. But again, Tradeify, my funded futures are right there for me right now. So again, link is down below, code JEFE as always. Now, let's jump into the market, what we're looking for, what we kind of got. Now, first, let's go into Fed. Let's get the boring stuff out of the way. What happened here? So ultimately, we came out 0.25 cut like everyone expected. And on the board, if you look at the dot plot, what the Fed is anticipating is basically 0.5 more cuts. So another 0.25, 2 0.25s, or one 50 basis point cut as a whole. Okay. That's the expectations right now from the Fed, not from the market. That is what the Fed is kind of pricing in and what they're looking at. It's also worth mentioning, you're going to see people talk about the one Fed member who was pricing a 0.5 rate cut. That is the only Fed official tied to the White House, so that makes logical sense that he was in favor of getting a 0.5 cut, right? Obviously, a little bit biased there. So what to be looking at, what to expect. Now, what Powell did say that was negative today was about employment. Is that they cannot say that employment is in a good spot anymore, okay? And he says that immigration is weighing on employment. So, okay, we'll watch out for inflation. Immigration is also weighing on that employment rate and what's happening as far as unemployment. So we'll see what's happening going forward, but that's all that was really said. I don't think Powell really divulged a lot of information of changing. Again, I wanted to see him comment more on the changing of where's the inflation goal, what's happening there, like what all has really shifted. So, and I don't think Powell really went into that today. I'll be totally honest, right? But the market got what it needed, and I think it's kind of positioned to keep on going. Now, again, I'll go more into yields here in a little bit, but I want to go over futures first, and then you could skip to the end of the video if you want to see me going over stocks as well. So, again, NASDAQ, what happened? Now, I used the VRVP, the visible range of volume profile here, the past 2 days just to show Discord some of the spots up here. Like I always say, guys, when you're into all-time highs like you are right now here on NASDAQ, you don't have as much to look for, right? So this channel is all based upon looking at reactions of previous levels, volume, where buyers have showed up previously. And so when we get into all-time highs, again, it gets a little bit harder to see because you don't have that much information. So I was using the VRVP to show you just where those levels were. And you can see, obviously, where we're kind of pinned at is between both of those big spots of where the majority of volume has kind of lied, right? As you can see here. And now we're pinned right here. So that's where we're at currently. Overall, the fact that we're holding above basically 24.3 right there, that's our previous high from back here, that's a good look. That is what you want to see. We sat there for a sec, bounced right back up. I would like to see us hold above 24.4 as well, and then slowly get back above 24.5. That would be ideal. Now, it's also worth mentioning that the worst part of the day, the worst part that I would say out here right now is going to still be NVIDIA and some of these semis, okay? Now, if you don't know, basically NVIDIA got the ban from China once again, and I don't even want to go into extreme detail of what's happening with the China ban and all that. I just don't want it. It's a total waste of time in my opinion. We've seen these China bans, either America banning NVIDIA selling to China or China banning NVIDIA from selling to them, which is a crazy thing to do. At the end of the day, NVIDIA is going to, number one, global demand is going to eat up to whatever China is going to do. I mean, it would make NVIDIA make more money, but they already have as much demand as they really need. They're going to get more and more and more. And then number two, China's just going to fall behind. So China, I think they'll break on this. They'll come back. They'll want to buy NVIDIA's products. We'll see. But as of right now, that's where you're at. Now, NVIDIA, like I said, only really down thing on the day, like for me, right? Again, this has been the story, kind of chop on NVIDIA. 168. In my opinion, big level right there. You get below that, you can start moving to 162, possibly down to previous all-time high of 154, 153. What I would be looking for. Make that really clear. What I'm looking for out there, make sure you're paying attention. Big level, big level, big level, okay? That's kind of the scary part of it right there. Now, going a bit further, ES, as you can see, the chart looks really good. You're basically just sitting up here at 66.60. No real reason to be worried. You dip down, bought back up immediately. This is the 4 hour. We can go to the 1 hour. So you can see it's still getting bought back up immediately. The Dow, pull back, sitting near highs. You still look really good. Now, the areas of the market that I think you need to be paying the most attention to, as far as yields as well, but is financial names, as far as banks, anything regarding consumer lending, business lending, and then also real estate markets as well. Those are going to be the three things I think you watch the most to see how the market is interpreting what the Fed is doing. Now, I think the Fed continues to cut based off of their, what they said and what they're doing right now makes the most sense, unless inflation just surges. And they already said they think inflation from tariffs is 100% transitory. So again, nothing really worrisome there either. Okay, so I'm trying not to be a perma bull here, but things turned out pretty good today. I will tell you right now, I would have loved to see a dip, an aggressive dip. I would have loved to see a dip, going into the end of September, beginning of October. We'll see what happens, but as of right now, you still look good. And if semis start to heat up, I mean, the whole market's just gonna rip because the market looks really good as a whole, and you'll see that as we dive back in. Okay, so again, overall viewpoints here. I'll go into SPY and Qs, give you some levels here as well. What I'd be watching, again, SPY, very similar chart to ES, why I always recommend watching ES. But again, I just want to say above basically 659.5, 650 or 660 basically, if that's where you want to stay. Above that, you look really good. You're finding buyers near 657. If you get below 657 here on SPY, I would be looking down again towards basically 654, which is kind of where you hit, and then your level here of 652. Going into QQQ, your levels aren't really as clear here, but I will say you can kind of see the levels developing there. Basically 580, basically 590. Hold above 590, look good. Underneath that, you don't really have a lot of liquidity. Could come down to 583. What I'd be looking for, clear as day, what I'm looking for there. Now, Mag 7 names, what I like to see. Again, I've gone a lot into semis. I don't want to do too much semis today. I just don't want to. I still think they're awesome. NVIDIA's 168, probably a buying opportunity, what I look for there. Now, moving on from that. Apple. I think Apple is a must-watch at this point. You go to the daily and you really look here. Apple above 237 has to get your rocks off. You got to be. I'm talking absolutely torqued to the max when you look at where we're at and how we're moving here. You look great. Above 237, looking back into 241, 242. But ultimately, above 242, your all-time highs are we're looking for there in Apple. Apple is doing what it's been doing, what it has to do, right? Really carrying the market right now. Meta, another big name out here, going more to the hourly chart, so you can see holding above 774, which was the trade from yesterday. Above 774, looking for 784 to 782. Again, one of the top names heading into tomorrow as well. I want to say right now, focus on the Mag 7, focus on the big names. Again, they all look really good. Okay, Microsoft trying to get back above the 50 MA, above 511. It's a long slap it. The best looking stock out there right now, surprisingly, is Tesla. Tesla looks absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I really can't say enough here. Tesla is doing really. I didn't think could do this. Okay, you have room basically into like 439, 438. You can see here as well over the past few days, you kind of been sitting in this range, going all the way back to Monday of, this week, right? Kind of ranging here, breaking out, trying to mount over that here at the end of the day. I'd be watching Tesla into 735, 739. Big watch here, one of my strongest, one of the best looking names overall in the market. Runner-up is still the name I mentioned yesterday, CrowdStrike. I traded it again on the day. I'll be totally honest. I mean, I feel like I just keep rinsing and repeating the same names recently, right? CrowdStrike above the 50 MA, which is now at 444, is I would be shocked if we don't come into 456. I would be absolutely shocked if we don't. On the daily chart, it's a massive, massive level. CrowdStrike's I think it's one of the best names in the market when it comes to cloud, cybersecurity. The world runs through Crowd, right? PanW, Crowd are top names. Crowd, I think, undervalued. Back above 456 we go. Back above the 50 MA, monster name. Again, I do this not to flex Discord or anything like that, but it's to show you what I focus on. It's the same. I mean, again, like I find something I like and I just repeat it over and over and over and over and over. That's all I do. That is my secret to success here, right? So again, go to Tesla. Reaction here is key. 414 over that VWAP, likely back to 420. Under 414, looking for 410. Just running you through trades here on the day. Tesla, what happened? Again, despite Tesla being so high, guess what? Guess what happened early on in the day? You broke below 414. You went straight down to 410, and you kind of bounced, right? Going back over here. You can actually see this morning. You broke, dipped, shot right back up. Instant trade, easy money. You bounced it back above, shot right into 420, came back down to 414, reacted, right back into 420. Had that trade both ways. Easy money, exactly to the plan. Netflix, I've been mentioning this, holding 1200 into the 50 MA and then 1230. Obviously, Netflix, clear as day, 1235, went into that. Again, just running you through what I did not even trade Netflix on the day, just was out there for everyone, okay? Going into CrowdStrike, another one here. Holding the 50 MA, we're looking for that push in towards 455, 456. CrowdStrike this morning, or this is before FOMC, guys. I also want to highlight that. Right in there, boom, projected back down. So again, same names, guys. I'm focused on the same strong names. Again, Meta, CrowdStrike, Tesla, all of the monsters, all of the beast. I do think Netflix as well is ready to rip. Again, back above the 50 MA is a monster level. As long as you hold that, you are very strong. If you get a test back of 1215, 1216, probably a buying opportunity coming back towards 1245, 1240, which we rejected a few times. Also moved into 1260. Monsters across the board. What I'd be looking at, what I'd be focused on, very, very strong names. One of the names as far as, and I'm going to come back into Palantir, but IWM just looks so good. And I highlighted this yesterday. Like IWM is pushing back into all-time highs, which is like funny that we're not talking more about it. And mid-caps, I mentioned yesterday, I want to get more focused on mid-caps because I think there's a lot of opportunities there. And again, I say focus on Mag 7, but I'd be an idiot to not focus on some of these IWM and mid-cap names that are going to benefit off this, right? Especially if the market really starts to thrive with lending, finance, and consumer spending names out there and businesses getting back into spending, back into loans, which is where you're putting this, and the ball's back in that court, right, of growth, which is kind of crazy, but it is what it is. IWM basically tested all-time highs, got rejected. Again, IWM stays up here. I like it a lot. I mean, we could reject back down to the 50 MA. We'll see. But again, as of right now, I like how we're moving. I like what's happening here, okay? So I'm going to go into mid-caps here in a second. Last thing I'll mention here from semis is AMAT. I've been saying this for the past few days. Go back to Friday, Monday, whenever I made a video. I don't know what day I made the last video, right? But AMAT into 176, the 50 MA, and back to 176. I said it was one of the best looking semis. You're welcome. I also had this posted in Discord, free money, probably pushing into 180, okay? Now, mid-caps, what I like there. Now, recently, I've liked a lot of these cheaper healthcare mid-caps, Oscar, HIMSS, etc. There's just not buying opportunities for me right here. I'm just telling you right now. Pushing to 2021. I sold a little early in your 20. But again, congratulations. I'll get back aggressive in your 14, 13. That's when I'll trade this one again. Going into HIMSS, you're just not getting the opportunities here. 48, a possible opportunity. Kind of had a dip there on the day, but I look more towards the 200 SMA. You have no reason to get hyper aggressive on these mid caps because there's so many opportunities. Okay, you're gonna get more opportunities. You don't need to be the first one into the trade. I say this over and over and over. Okay, so again, they're not gonna get a lot of my love. What is gonna get my love is gonna be these names. Upstart. I love it. I've been saying Upstart, the 200 SMA. You've been bouncing nonstop. It looks like a goddamn basketball. It looks like Rajon Rondo's going between the legs, crisscross applesauce over and over, just bouncing the ball at the 200 SMA. And that's what you're doing. Above 70, 172, this is an absolute ripper. And I think it's a monster. Really you can wait till 72, but that's where you get the breakout potential. Now, the other name here is Affirm. And wow. Put that on my card. can I say? Put that on my card. Affirm is juicy. For some reason, this is one of the best mid caps that exist right now since April, going straight up. Right in your 50 MA, you're getting to $90. Above $90, this is ready to road run towards $100+. I love it. Be watching it. Top mid cap right now, probably for me, is Affirm. It looks incredible. A name I kind of slept on a few minutes ago, Palantir. Palantir basically just signed like $1 billion contract with Ukraine. I don't even know what that entails. But Donald Trump apparently is like, you can hate the guy all you want. This guy's cash and checks, snapping necks and cash and checks. This guy's crazy. This guy's wild. Donald Trump is a madman out here, just making deals out thin air. And again, you don't like him, I don't care. I'm just saying the facts here. Again, above 170, 169, I like 176. Palantir looks really good. You bounce off the 50 MA once again. MAs, again, the only indicators you really need to have on your screen, the 50 MA, the 100 MA, the 200 MA. That's all you really need on the daily. Anchor that to your daily, to your weekly. Thank me later. Again, looks really good. Would I be watching? That's what's on my list right now. Okay, guys? There's not a lot of crazy names. I'm not going to get... I think Marvel's another good name, but you're kind of sitting at this big level, say 72, 73. We'll see if we get above that. But that's where you're at right now. Again, I don't have tons of names here, but this is what I like. Again, it's sticking to what's worked, sticking to it over and over, repeating the same strategy. Again, people aren't going to like this. It is what it is. Again, I like to be a creature of habit. If what you're doing in your trading, ladies and gentlemen, is not repeatable, if you cannot do the same thing over and over, then it's not a strategy. It's not. You're playing Russian roulette. You're getting your revolver. You're spinning the wheel. There's 3 bullets in there. I hope when I pull the trigger, something comes out. That is what you're doing. Again, everything I do here is 100% repeatable. What I'm looking at, why I'm looking at it. If you have questions, let me know as well. One name out here that I kind of slept on here is Affirm, or ARM. Again, monster. Again, you guys have seen here, I don't change my levels. I don't change my targets. Same things out here, guys, on repeat. Our ARM bouncing off of 150 once again. Incredible. Again, absolute monster, absolute beast. Again, semis are kind of like in this in between limbo. But some of the mid caps, like I keep saying, are pointing towards a lot of opportunity. The market still looks good. We'll see what happens. I like what I'm seeing. Very, very bullish right now. Have a good one, traders. See you tomorrow.